This episode of Distraction is sponsored by Landmark College in beautiful Putney, Vermont, the college of choice for students who learn differently. Learn more about how we help students with ADHD succeed in college at lcdistraction.org. Hello, this is Dr. Ned Hallowell with a mini episode of Distraction. It's wonderful to be back with you as we open Season 4 of Distraction. It's wonderful that we've been able to do this podcast now entering our 4th season, and it's only because of you, only because of your support as I travel around and give the talks I give. People continue to come up to me and say how much they enjoy this. It means a lot to me. So please, and all of us who produce, Sarah Guertin, our producer, and we really love creating this community. So please continue to send us your suggestions and support. This distraction community is all about connection. That's what we're believing in. Today, I'd like to offer a few comments on reserving judgment. You know, we live in an era that is just dripping, saturated, pulverized with judgment. So I have this image of a meat tenderizer just pounding down on us with judgment. And it's a way to get someone's attention. So the media and the politicians, they just keep throwing out judgments, because if you render a judgment on someone, well, then that gets their attention, particularly if it's a negative judgment. If you say someone is, the devil incarnate, if you say someone is a horrible person, you get their attention. Of course, you hurt them, you make them feel terrible, but we almost don't seem to care about that, or, the general sensibility seems to be losing its compassion. It seems to be losing its natural identification one with the other. And I want to sort of urge us to reclaim that. I really feel terrible when someone insults me. I feel really terrible when someone attacks me. I try not to attack other people. Sometimes I do have to go to bat. Sometimes I do have to call someone out. Sometimes I feel compelled to say, you shouldn't have done that. I disagree with you. How did you ever do that? In fact, I just called out someone I respect for doing something that I thought was wrong, and I felt I had to do that, and I offered up a judgment. But I try not to do that often, and I also, whenever I do it, I know that I've erred, sinned, done wrong far more times than I could even count. The judge not lest ye be judged is a very important phrase to keep in mind. And that we are all flawed, absolutely. We are all incapable of doing right every minute of every day, and we all need each other's understanding. The great phrase, to understand all is to forgive all. If you understand, what's really going on, then you'll forgive almost everything. I say almost because it seems there are some things that are just beyond understanding and forgiveness. But if you have it as your goal to try to understand, forgive, keep a sense of humor, cut other people slack in the hope that they'll cut you slack, reserve judgment, it's much easier to sit in a room where people aren't judging. I mean, that's one of the secrets of AA. It's a judgment-free zone. You sit there knowing you can say anything, and no one's going to pass judgment. No one's going to look down on you. No one's going to say, you shouldn't have done that, or that was a wrong thing to do. People are going to take you at face value and let you be who you are. And if you should misspeak, you can do that. I mean, who of us doesn't? Gosh, I just think we need to try to clear space for us all to misspeak. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you should be able to go around just saying whatever you want and doing whatever you want. Obviously, I'm not saying that. But I do think with all the ways we're just ready to jump down everybody's throat in this world of sort of gotcha and attack and hand over people for the pettiest of sins and crimes and ruin careers and ruin lives. I think, if we could try to have a feeling of suspending judgment and trying to understand before we judge, trying to say, gee, I wonder where that came from. I wonder why that person is so angry. I wonder what happened to him or her early in life. I wonder what happened to him or her yesterday. I wonder what happened to him or her at lunch today that he or she came back in such a foul mood, and maybe offer want to go out for a coffee, or can I get you a glass of water, or just a smile. It really is true. You get a lot more with honey than with vinegar. I understand this may sound like pablum to some of you, but on the other hand, doesn't it sound like what we need? Doesn't it sound like what we're all looking for? Doesn't it sound like, gosh, it may be a cliche, maybe pablum, but it's true. Isn't it what we all are kind of saying? Gosh, I'd like it if my day were more like that, and I'd like it if my day were just kind of open and free and easy, and I could sort of say what I want to say without worrying if someone thinks it's stupid or a cliche or not very clever or not very smart, or whether it's too conservative or too liberal or not PC or whatever the judgment might happen to be. Just let me say what I say and kind of accept me for who I am. I think that's the way to go through life, if you can do that, because after all, none of us gets it all right. In fact, most of us don't get very much of it right. And we all need each other's understanding. To understand all is to forgive all. Well, this is Dr. Ned Hallowell, wishing you all well for distraction.